Netflix's exclusive anime, Godzilla Singular Point, is teeming with creatures both familiar and new. Much has already been said about the show's marquee monstars, but not as much has been dedicated to the more rare and forgotten kaiju that dwell within GSP's 13 episodes. In this series of videos, we're going to search out those mysterious beasts and bring them to the forefront. From one-off kaiju cameos to creature concepts that were left on the cutting room floor, these are the lost kaiju of Godzilla Singular Point. The multi-form, evolving Shin Godzilla put a new spin on a decades-old trope. For years, it was really only Godzilla's monstrous friends and foes that ever transformed or evolved into new shapes, kaiju like Mothra, Hedorah, the Heisei King Ghidorah, Destoroyah, and so on. Applying this to Shin Godzilla was beneficial for a few reasons. For one, more Godzillas meant more toys, as director Hideaki Anno noted in his 2013 Shin Godzilla proposal memo. In terms of merchandising, it would be better to have a creature that evolves step by step, Anno wrote. Another benefit was the offering of something new to the audience. What strange new forms could Godzilla take on? Shin Godzilla monster designer Mahiro Maeda, alongside Hideaki Anno, pushed into unknown territory trying to find that answer, conjuring many strange images and scenarios that would be flat out rejected by Toho Studios. But this paved the way for Godzilla Ultima, Singular Point's version of the King of the Monsters. GSP's production team revisited Shin's troves of abandoned concepts and repurposed some of them for the anime. Limited to 4 Godzilla forms due to a slim 3D CG budget, Singular Point followed Shin's example of creating fish, amphibian, and reptile evolutionary forms for Godzilla Ultima. These iterations were even set to follow the simple Shin Godzilla naming convention, Godzilla Form 2, Form 3, etc. But a lesson had apparently been learned during Shin Godzilla's merchandise run. Are we really going to sell a toy named Godzilla Zero? Singular Point director Atsushi Takahashi rhetorically asked on the Godzilla Day 2021 livestream. So, at the last minute, screenwriter Toho Enjo and monster designer Eiji Yamamori came up with the designations of Godzilla Aquatilis, Godzilla Amphibia, and Godzilla Terrestris. Arguably, Singular Point's proto-Godzillas are equally, if not more so, jarring than what officially appeared in Shin Godzilla, hybrids of the Monster King with other classic Showa-era kaiju that, on occasion, displayed equally as strange new powers and abilities. And the production team considered going even weirder than that, revisiting a concept that had not been done since 1971. Director Takahashi and screenwriter Enjo discussed the idea of a flying Godzilla at some length on the Godzilla Singular Point Episode 8 Blu-ray commentary. Takahashi brings it up after Enjo reveals that Hedorah had been considered for Singular Point's kaiju roster early on and why they chose not to go with the sludge monster. So Hedorah, it was like when we were discussing whether Godzilla would fly in the sky. Then how would it fly? Is flying really the right call? Asked director Takahashi. Enjo quickly responded with a laugh. It'd turn about quickly and fly backwards or something, referencing Godzilla's infamous flying scene from 1971's Godzilla vs. Hedorah, the only time the King of the Monsters has ever gone airborne on screen. Takahashi follows up with how monster designer Yamamori was thinking for a really long time about how Godzilla should fly, to which Enjo replied, "We'll have to ask Kuratani-san too." Enjo is referencing Shigeru Kuratani, a professor of evolutionary morphology. The man also happens to be a huge Godzilla fan, having penned 2 books analyzing Godzilla and other kaiju through the lens of modern science. Kuratani acted as a consultant on Singular Point, offering insight into the evolutionary morphology of Singular Point's monsters. Now, when I set out to make this video, I mistakenly believed Takahashi and Enjo were discussing an unused flying evolutionary form of Godzilla. This misunderstanding was brought about by 2 reasons. For one, the flying Godzilla idea was brought up when Enjo was discussing another unused kaiju, Hedorah. The other was Takahashi then later makes a reference to a throwaway line from Shin Godzilla in the Episode 8 commentary, a line that specifically speculates on the possibility of a Godzilla capable of intercontinental flight. Considering how many unused concepts Singular Point ended up adopting from Shin Godzilla, it did not strike me as odd that Takahashi might creatively capitalize on fleshing out something like this. But as research and scripting went on, it became more and more apparent that this was not a flying proto-Godzilla that had been dropped, but instead an ability which would have been directly applied to Godzilla, presumably in its Ultima form. How exactly would have Godzilla Ultima gone airborne? At the very beginning, when a Godzilla-sized thing whips its tail around, we did talk about the possibility that the speed of the tip of its tail is about the same as the speed of light. Takahashi explained on the Episode 8 commentary. It could at least exceed the speed of sound, so using that momentum, it could probably get to the edge of outer space. So Enjo-san started calculating it on the spot. But the math did not add up. Enjo's calculations concluded that Godzilla would just fall short, so it couldn't make it. I guess a flying Godzilla is a problem to be solved in the future, said Takahashi. Was it really calculation results that killed this idea? Or, just like with every other concept that Singular Point left on the cutting room floor, did it just not fit in with the story that they were trying to tell? Or did Singular Point's head creatives, who went out of their way to consult physicists and biologists to ensure the scientific accuracy of make-believe creatures, eventually realize that perhaps having Godzilla punch it to the final frontier under the power of its own tail was kind of, sort of, ridiculous? Obviously, the success of an idea is in its execution, and sweeping my own editorial opinion aside, I could almost imagine a scenario where I could buy Godzilla getting around similarly to something like The Incredible Hulk. But, love it or hate it, let's keep this in mind. In all of Godzilla's Reiwa efforts, the creature has been coupled with forms and abilities either rarely or never before seen. The creatives behind those productions are trying to conjure new concepts and imagery that would surprise and interest audiences in an almost 70-year-old film franchise. A franchise that has traversed a lot of creative ground where we have seen just about everything. Some ideas may work, some ideas may not, but in the end, if the minds behind these projects are not at least considering what may lay outside the box, they will be forever doomed to always be stuck in it. And that was a place that director Takahashi and screenwriter Enjo just had no interest in being in with their Godzilla project. I would like to give a Godzilla Ultima size shout out to our newest patrons, Clyde Harvey, Mach13, and Jakey, for joining the Vulture Squadron tier over at the Monstrosities Patreon. It is through the incredibly gracious support of viewers like them that helps maintain this channel and create content like the video you just watched. Thank you for all of your viewership and for your continued support. We will see you very soon.